Hello YouTubers, welcome back to Yorkshireman 66. I'm Mark, your host or presenter, whatever you want to call me. Entertaining you, basically. This is better than the BBC, you've got to agree. Right, we're talking about e-bikes. And I might talk about e-scooters at the end of this, if it doesn't go on for too long. So, e-bikes. What is the legal requirement of e-bikes in the United Kingdom? Well, it's so simple. The law on it is so simple. The motor, if it's in the hub, rear hub, front hub or central crank, must be no more powerful than 250 watts motor, basically. And people have always asked, well, can you unrestrict it? No. I wouldn't even know where to go. I don't think you can unrestrict it. Why would you want to unrestrict it? You won't be legal if you did. So 250 watt motor, and then that comes with a battery, obviously. Some batteries are, can be 400 watt hours, 500 watt hours, whatever. You know what I mean? And also, the electric motor must kick in when pedal assisted. So you got to pedal when you that's when the motor kick in. You must pedal, and also the motor must not exceed 15.5 mile an hour. So that's 15.5 mph. Must not exceed that, because if it does, then you would need legally to register it on the road, which you don't do. So there you go. And also, my requirement for an e-bike is disc brakes. You must have disc brakes. It makes sense to have disc brakes on a push bike. Yeah, they're still making rim brakes for bikes, but now I know about disc brakes, I don't think I could trust a rim brake. But there you go. So yeah, so that's the legal requirement: a 250 watt motor with pedal assist and not exceed 15.5 miles per hour. Basically, that's on pedal assist, and disc brakes, that is a requirement, and things like that. And you're not allowed to have a throttle or a twist throttle or even a throttle. No throttle. All has to be done by pedal assist. And that. I had an argument with somebody about this, and they said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I've got a 1,000 watt motor on my bike, and I can pass the police." And I'm thinking, well, if you haven't been caught yet, mate, and he says, yeah. I says, if you haven't been caught yet, I says, I'm surprised you still got that bike, because a 1,000 watt motor coupled to a good battery, says yeah. I says, you're breaking the law. Oh, you don't know what you're on about. I mean, I can do what I want. I thought, okay, but Mr. Policeman tapped him on the shoulder and says, he's right, you're wrong. He says, that bike can be taken off you by the police quite legally, can be confiscated because it's breaking the UK law. UK law, that's what it states. 250 watt motor, max. Pedal assistance, not to go over the speed of 15.5 mile an hour. It's as simple as that. And people look at me and think, well, 15.5 mile an hour is not a lot. Well, it is. It is a lot. Because to maintain that on a normal push bike, it takes a lot out of you. Well, it can take a lot out of you. So, yeah, having that electric motor, knowing that you can cruise up to about 14, 15 mile an hour, relaxed. It's quite good, and it's quite legal as well. You don't have to pay any road tax or anything like that. And then here comes the other big argument, in my opinion, is, well, a lot of people come to me and say this, and say, well, it's not safe to cycle on the road. That's why we're on pavement, and that's why we do this and that. So I says to him, I says, look, right on pavement, that's okay when it's not busy. I says, but legally, it's a lot of what's not pushed, basically, by the police. Police don't push it. I mean, I've seen cyclists on the road acting like absolute idiot, nearly knocking people over. And I nearly got knocked over when I was crossing. I was just about to cross, and this guy came in. All because I wanted to dodge the red light. I called him all sorts of names. I called him an idiot. That's being polite. And I told him to jog on. And I says, you know, learn the highway code. He didn't like that. But, you know, I've always advocated that the government should produce highway code for cyclists and cyclists only. You know what I mean? I mean, you can get an highway code and you can read it. I mean, I did have an old one, so I can't show you. But I did have an old highway code, and in that old highway code, it has cars and cyclists in, you know, telling you what you can and can't do as a cyclist. And when I first got my bike, my mum made sure that I was competent and safe enough to ride that bike. And my mum says, don't ride on the path, you can't do it, it is illegal, which it is. And I've ridden on the road all my cycling life, except for these 8 years because I haven't got a bike, and plus that I'm getting me fit, you know, I'm getting back on my feet, pardon the pun, and that. So that's what I did. Yeah, I mean, so when I used to cycle in 70s and 80s and 90s, I was on the road, and I never came up that path, never ever. But there is cyclists, well, I don't call them cyclists, I call them idiots really, but there is people who ride bikes and they ride them on the path and they don't give way to pedestrians like they're supposed to do. They just act like complete hooligans in my mind. And so I asked the police about it and they said, well, realistically, no, they shouldn't be on there, but they are. And there's nothing what we can do. I says, well, you can press the law into, you know, you can push the law. The law states in highway code you're meant to, anything with 2 wheels or 4 wheels is meant to be on the road. They said, I agree. I completely agree with you. But try and police it with all the cutbacks is impossible. And this is what they said to me. And I have no reason not to believe them. I mean, because they do insist on all the cutbacks what they've had. Well, I'm very surprised they can police Wakefield like they do. You know what I mean? But they do, you know, they have to police as much as possible. You know what I mean? You know, some crime goes unpunished, and things like that. You know, there's bike thieves not getting punished because police can't be bothered with them. It's as simple as that. And going down that thing. So in my mind, and I was having a discussion about this to a nice policeman actually. And police says, so what's your idea? I says, my idea is close city centre off to cars. Make them park outside of city centre or put them into multi-storey car parks just on the outskirts of the city centre. I says, then that frees it up for cycling around city centre. Makes it a lot more easier, a lot more safer. And I said, all right. I says, what? So you mean all vehicles? I says, buses, except for buses and taxis and cyclists. But anything else, yeah, make them park on the outskirts. I mean, Wakefield hasn't got a park and ride. I'm surprised at that. I mean, at one time, government were pushing it. I mean, there is park and ride in Yorkshire, don't get me wrong, but not round where I live. Well, I haven't seen one in any case. And I live in Wakefield, and I have never heard of one, so, yeah, I mean, there was supposed to be a park and ride, but they've never built it. And things like that. So, yeah. So, so city centre, where I live, Westgate and that, all that should be shut off to normal cars, except for buses and taxis and cyclists. It's as simple as that. Makes it safer to ride around city centre. It does make it a lot safer to push out the big cars and say, if you want to drive into Wakefield, then you must have a small car. And it's as simple as that. Yeah, I mean, these people cannot be allowed to get away with, murder, in want of a word, really. I mean, there's always been arguments with cyclists. There's motorists say, oh, cyclists are ignorant and arrogant. Well, I'm not. And I have had arguments with motorists. I think the last very argument I had with a motorist were in 2006. And I did everything right. I put my hand out. I moved over, and he blasted his arm because he had to slow down. And I pulled in, and he pulled in behind me and started giving it big licks. And I just politely reminded him, I am legally allowed to be on the road. I did indicate, and he said, yeah, but I had to slow down. I said, well, obviously, you're in a 30 mile an hour zone, mate. And going into a 20 mile an hour zone. He goes, yeah. And I goes, you're supposed to slow down. I said, I'm a cyclist. I can't go that fast. You know, I was indicating to go right. Cyclists shouldn't be on the road. And I thought, well, yes, we should actually. And as everyone knows, if you look further back, I tell you exactly why cyclists have more priority, or should have more priority, over a motorist, because cycling was around 68 years before the motor car. So there you go. You know, and also pedestrians have been around a lot longer than cycling and things like that. So yeah, pedestrians do have right of way. I mean, it tells you all this in highway code. You know, I see car drivers making mistakes what they shouldn't make. I think if it says go left only, you know, no right turn. You don't turn right, do you? You go left. Yeah. Well, there's a junction down here where a car from Overpumpton went right. I thought, God, he's gonna. And bloke says, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "You're gonna kill someone, you." I says, "You haven't passed your car test in England." "No, I passed it in Pakistan." I says, "Go get your car test taken over here, because you're not allowed to do that." "Well, I can do what I want." You know what I mean? It's that kind of mentality what we need to get rid of. You know what I mean? So people turning right when they're not supposed to turn right is dangerous for us cyclists. You know, for a lot of people, it's dangerous to motorists as well as cyclists, as well as pedestrians as well, and things like that. And I've always maintained it's like mobility scooters. I mean, I've had it. I've been nearly, you know, me and my mate have been nearly run over by a mobility scooter. And if that mobility scooter had collided right with my mate or me, I'd have been back in hospital, and the person riding that mobility scooter would have been done, and it would have been taken off him. And it's as simple as that. But you know, even I say that on mobility scooters, you should have some kind of training. I agree that, you know, cycling, yes, we should have some kind of training. We used to have cycle training, but it's not done anymore. Well, it's not done because I did it at school. You know, cycling proficiency test. I did that at school. Yeah, you learn a lot, but you also, it teaches you to read the highway code, get to know your signs, get to know the system, and things like that. And that's what it's there to do. So that's what I think cycling is all about. And e-bikes is, they're even going to get quicker. I mean, an e-bike is slightly, well, it is heavier than a normal bike, but can you think back to when you first saw e-bikes and they had lead acid batteries? They were a lot heavier than what you get now. I mean, I recently picked one up, an e-bike. I think it was a Carrera Vengeance 2. I went like that, and I could quite easily pick it up. That's with battery in. I thought, well, they're not as heavy as what I thought. But don't forget, they do the Vengeance 2 as an E, because it's Vengeance 2 E, or as a normal bike. So it's the same bloody frame. So there you go. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. And having all this, and also to be legal, you know, to be legal and be cycling around, yeah, read the highway code, please. You know, read the highway code. It doesn't say that you're not allowed on the road. You just got to take care when you're on the road. There's none of this, you know, don't be messing about like you see young people do. Don't be popping wheelies on your bike, because push bikes are not meant for that. They're meant to get you from A to B. They're meant for fucking commuting, basically. You know what I mean? Don't do what all the other people do. Don't do what the hooligans do. And this, I think, is why cycling is getting a bad name. It had a good reputation at one point. I mean, when I was cycling in the 70s, we used to get car drivers complimenting me and my mate for, oh, well, at least you say, at least you're aware. And then it all changed about late 80s. It really did. You know, you're getting a new breed of car, you know, a driver coming through, and they have no patience. And it's same today. You're getting cars coming, you're getting new drivers coming through now, and they've got no patience whatsoever. They seem to think they're king of the road and nothing else can be on the road. Well, I'm sorry, but cycling and pedestrian, you've got to share your road. And in my mind, this is what you share the road with: is cyclists, e-bikes, and mobility scooters. That's what you'll be sharing the road with. And it's down to each count. I mean, down London, they have cycle lanes wide enough for push bikes. If everyone doesn't know this, and you should know this, bus lanes, any cyclist can go into them and ride in them. There's nothing what a bus company can do. It is legal to do so. So do it. Use bus lanes where you can. You know what I mean? And only and designated cycleways as well. There is designated cycleways up and down the country. And I think that's a lazy way of saying, well, it's a bit of a cycle path, but it's not, if you know what I mean. You should have a cycle lane on the road. And all they have to do it, especially in Wakefield, is just narrow. Is just make the path a little bit narrower. Wide enough for a human being to walk down. And then rest can be cycling. Once we get permanent cycle lanes across the UK, there is no reason for anyone to be on a path. And then what they have to do is stop cars from parking in. Because I have noticed cycle lanes, what I've seen, you're getting cars parking in them. Shouldn't be having that. They don't do it on bus lanes because they get done. So cycle lane should be the same. Do not park in a cycle lane. It's as simple as. You've got to think of safety, and that's what you've got to think of, safety. Unfortunately, a lot of councils don't think of that. They're just thinking of the motorists. Cars. You know what I mean? They're not thinking of cycling or any other user, like mobilities and things like that, mobility scooters. But yeah, should there be training for cycling? Yeah, I've always agreed that there should be some kind of method training. We used to have it with cycling proficiency tests, and I went through that when I was a kid at school, and I think that's where it should be still. Schools should be at school. That responsibility going forward, cycling, it should be part of the curriculum. I've always said it, and it's as simple as that. Yeah, people are not going to like what I suggest about inner cities, closing them down, buses, taxis and cyclists only, and mobility scooters only as well. Go with mobility scooters as well, and these rental scooters, it'll be fine. As long as you're using them particular vehicles with common sense. It's as simple as that. And also, if you want a mobility scooter, you'd have to prove that you are disabled. I.e. that you're getting disablement payments and that. You shouldn't be allowed to go buy one privately because you want one. You should have to prove that you are disabled, in my mind. Because there is a lot of people out there who do ride these mobility scooters as transport, and they're not disabled. Even I know that. I know quite a few do it. But there you go. But that will be controversy, I know that, and then there'll be a lot of people that come and you talking crap. No. Just my experience, that's all it is. It's just my experience. And things like that. It's just my experience. And believe you me, I've had a lot of experience of bumping into these things as it comes and that. I know certain people who don't want to work, so they get a mobility scooter. I'm disabled. When they're not. Because they've applied to be disabled, for like PIP. I know quite a few people who have applied for it, but they haven't got it because they're not disabled. But they have a mobility scooter. Don't weigh up, does it? It doesn't really, I don't. Whereas that person could get a push bike. Simple as. You know what I mean? But yeah, so there should be some kind of training for cycling. That should never have gone away. And there should be some kind. I know there is some kind of training for mobility, but it's voluntary. Well, I think when you buy a mobility scooter, second hand or new, you should have to go for it. Not voluntary. It must be done. Like it should be mandatory that you go for some kind of basic training on a mobility scooter, because they do go pretty quick. Even I know that. Like I said, me and my mate had a bit of a run in. We come round the corner. And if I hadn't pulled him away, he could have been knocked over by that mobility scooter. He could have been seriously injured by it. And I turned round and I caught him. I just turned round and shouted at the bloke, "Look where you're going and slow down." And he just, "Well, I can do what I want." No, you can't, mate. You've got to go with the law. And obviously, here in a mobility scooter, it will same, more or less the same width as a path. No human could have got downside of him, I'm telling you. You know what I mean? So really, the law must come into it where, you know, pavement is only for pedestrians, cycle lane is only for cyclists and mobility scooters and e-scooters, and the road is only for motorised vehicles. And then we should do an inner city thing, whereas if you live in an inner city and you're commuting on push bike, then there should be less cars around. So councils are must. It must be a must. Some council. I know in London they've got the congestion charge. That would have been better if they said, "Well, look, we're going to charge you more because of the size of your car. But if you have a small car, we're not going to charge you. Clean your act up." Simple as really. And this is what's got to happen. There is too many cyclists getting killed on a yearly basis. There is too many cyclists getting killed from every year, and it is ridiculous. When the simple solution is to give, proper cycle lanes, not these thin ones, not in the gutter. Proper cycle lanes. It's as simple as that, and they can do it by narrowing the pavement. And people say, "No, they can't." Yes, they can. They can narrow the pavement. They can put the barriers up, like we used to have barriers. Some kind of protection from that, and then the cycle lane barriers again, so no cars can park in it. Must have them kind of barriers, and then the road is for the motorists. It's as simple as that. And if a cyclist wants to cross a road, then he can quite safely by getting off the bike and crossing over. And it's as simple as that. And that's what we should have: proper cycling highways, proper cycle lanes, in my mind. And that's how it should be going. Now, I must reiterate what I said at the end of the video. I might talk about e-scooters. As you know, for personalised transport, we cannot have them. They are illegal. But Milton Keynes, everyone knows where Milton Keynes is, down south. Milton Keynes Council, they started a scheme where you can go rent a scooter. You can hire a scooter. I've got it written down here. You can hire a scooter. Say you're renting a scooter. So, 1, you must be over 18, which is okay, fair enough. 2, license required. So, minimal provisional license or full car license. That will prove license required for it. That's fine. That means you're responsible, hopefully. And then to use road and designated cycle paths, but no pavement where public go. And it's as simple as that. And that is for e-scooters, and that is Milton Keynes Council doing that. So if that works, that is the first step into getting personal e-scooters for someone like me to buy one and use it straight away. At the moment we can't. Yes, you can legally buy one, but you can't legally use it. And you do run a risk of the police taking it off you if you do. Alphas sell them. Even Alphas tell you the same. Yes, you can buy it. 350 quid you can buy it, but you use it out there. You can't use it publicly, but you can use it on private land. And that is the only place where you can use. You can't even use them in parks. You know what I mean? So if you have a big house or somewhere where you can go, what is private land only, like what farmers do and things like that, you'd be fine. But you can't use them on the road legally. Not until they get it sorted out. I know why they don't want to do it. I know why the UK government don't want to legalise these e-scooters. I mean, people have been killed on. Even I know that. There was a boy down London, what were killed on one. If you look at Middlesbrough, stupidity there. They were throwing scooters all over. Oh god, you know what I mean. And the motorway incident, oh well, that is just stupidity and things like that. It really is. But that's all I say about that. So e-scooters. So if every council in the UK does this rent scheme for you can hire an electric scooter, but you must follow these guidelines. That is a go for. I mean, that is definitely a must and things like that. And go for it. But yeah, e-bikes. So what do you think about e-bikes? Yeah, I mean, would you buy one? I know I want one. I know I love to get my hands on one, but it's getting the right one. It really is. It's just getting one when I like it and comfortable and I want to ride it, and things like that. I mean, my background on cycling. I used to have a sports bike. I used to have a drop angle bar, proper road sports bike, and I was riding them for a long time, and then I had a taste of mountain bikes, and then I thought, oh, this is a bit more comfortable, and then I go from there, and then I got onto an hybrid bike some time ago now. I'm talking 2006, proper hybrid bike, and it was really comfortable, and that. So yeah, so that's what So e-bikes, they do have a place in society. I've always thought that, but councils must help and make provincially that they do have a duty of care that everyone's safe in their borough, but councils don't seem to want to do that. I don't know. It takes forever to get things through with local councils. Even I know that it takes forever with Council of Wakefield. If you want something doing at Wakey, someone's got to die before they do something. I'll put it that way. It's as simple as that. So, there you go. So if you've liked this video, how can I put it? So if you've liked this video, please thumbs up the video. Please like the video. Please subscribe. If you're new, please subscribe. It is free to subscribe. You don't get charged. And this is gender free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just sharing what is in my opinion and what is in everybody else's opinion and things like that. And please share the video with Facebook, Twitter, and your friends and your family and whoever who will like to watch it. And please share the video. Like I said, share. And please comment below. If you definitely like this video, comment below and we'll go from there. So like I said, I will go over it. So the legal requirement for an e-bike in the United Kingdom is, even if it's a rear hub, a centre crank hub or a front hub, 250 watt motor. That's legal requirement. Must be pedal assisted. And so in other words, what that means, pedal assisted, is once you start pedaling, the motor will kick in. That no twist throttle or throttle of such kind, because that is illegal. And I think the age, you must be over 14 as well. I think there is an age limit on it as well. I've seen younger people riding them, but I think there is an upper age limit. But that's the UK law. And yeah, disc brakes must be a must for any e-bike as well. And that, and I will reiterate that. And you don't have to do it, but cycle helmet, is it a must? It's your personal choice. And that, I think if I could put a camera on top of a helmet, yeah, I'd definitely wear one. And things like that. Oh no, yeah, that is another thing as well about bikes as well. I do like how they film from bikes with the camera. Some have them on the handlebars, but some have them here, and I think that's a good idea actually. So when you're cycling, please take a camera, something like a GoPro, but a cheap cam, something like a GoPro and that, or a GoPro knockoff. There's cheap cameras, action cameras out there, and put it on your bike, and it'll do two things. It'll make sure that to the player, this guy's doing everything right. So this guy's hit him. He's not doing anything wrong. That as well, you know what I mean? So yeah. And you can also get fantastic shots of cars doing things what they shouldn't be doing. So yeah, I am a great big advocate of action cameras or some kind of angle bar camera on a bike. We have dash cams for cars, so why not for bikes? Do it. I would. I put one up back and front. Simple as. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.